Please, let's give it a nice round of applause for Jason Lengstorf.
All right, I'm actually ready now. We got audio, we got visuals. I'm gonna try not to pass out from the heat. We're gonna get this show going. So my name's Jason Lengstorf. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to meet all of you. I'm having a really weird time with this silent disco vibe, but I'm kind of digging it. So thank you all for coming and hanging out. I appreciate it. Especially y'all sitting in the sunlight. Holy jeez. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on all the things, LinkedIn, whatever. I'd love to talk to you. But today, what I want to talk about are full stack developers. So full stack developers are a concept that we hear people talk about a lot. We hear people say, oh, I'm a full stack developer. Oh, we have a boot camp that makes full stack developers. But I'm here to say that full stack developers don't exist, right? And what I mean by that is full stack dev is such an absolutely bonkers level, broad set of things that you need to master that it's just not really feasible to become a true full stack dev. Because every area of expertise in development is a rabbit hole made of rabbit holes. So you go, okay, I'm gonna become the best dev in the world at HTML, all right? And then you say, great, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna learn it. But then you realize, oh, there's accessibility, there's CSS, there is animation, and like you can spend your whole career, your entire career, just figuring out how to be an excellent web-based animator, right? The whole career. And that's, you have people who make their entire career about building accessible web interfaces. So when you start really playing out all the things that go into building full stack apps, you might be able to get a full stack app up on the web, but it's very unlikely that you're gonna be a full stack expert, right? Because there's just too many things, too much you gotta know to actually pull this off. There's just no way, right? There's just no way to pull it off. Except maybe there might be, maybe we can. I think I screwed up the transitions on my slides. I'm really excited about that. So, yeah, I did, cool. So, what are the boundaries of front end? When we start talking, who here would identify themselves as a front end developer? I'm seeing a lot of hands, about a third of the hands in the audience. Anybody here identify as a full stack developer? Oh, y'all full stacks just ran away, right? You were like, I'm done with this talk, I'm done with this guy. But no, so let's talk about the boundaries of front end development, right? Because it's not a clear-cut line. When I start thinking about what front end development is, I go, okay, I can write some HTML. HTML, put something on the screen. I got some markup, okay. I can do that, I got something on the screen, that's front end. All right, let's do a little CSS, let's make it look nice. This is gonna be something that looks nice on screen. I was originally planning on live coding this, but I was worried about my laptop overheating, so I'm gonna show you pictures of slides, but I got the whole repo up for anybody who wants to review. I apologize for going fast, I'm trying to keep it under 20 minutes. So we got our CSS here, right? That makes it work. And then I want to get some data. I don't want to just hard code all of these products onto my page. So I'm going to use the Fetch API. All right, now the Fetch API, it's built into the browser. That feels pretty front end. And it's going to return some JSON. Now JSON, that's pretty front end, JavaScript objects. That makes sense, okay. I can do that. I can handle some JavaScript. All right, now I'm going to go. And what if I want to have a custom API? Well, my custom API is going to return JSON. I know how to write that, but what about the server? What about the deployment? What about all these pieces to actually make this thing work? Well, okay, what if I want to do this with a serverless function? Well, so this is all the code I need for a serverless function. You can see here at the top, that's the product JSON, and then I'm just returning it for my serverless function. That's just JavaScript. That feels pretty front end. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Okay, I can do that. So maybe serverless is front end. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can make an API. Right now I want to test this. I want to run it locally. I don't know how to do that. But wait, I got this API, I got this CLI I can use. All right, I'm going to use the Netlify CLI. It's going to auto-detect my framework, which is just HTML in this case, and it's going to auto-detect that I've got serverless functions set up, and it's going to set up all the proxies and everything, so I don't need to configure local deployment of a serverless function. I don't need to configure how the proxies work. I don't need to configure wiring my front end and my serverless functions together to run under the same domain. That's all done for me. Okay, I can run a CLI command. That feels, I mean, this kind of front end, right? Like we all have to run TypeScript build or Babel or Webpack. We've all run those commands. So Netlify dev, that's not too far away. So maybe that's front end. Okay, let's keep going. So I run this, and now in my browser, I have an API. I can hit this API, and I'm getting back JSON. Well, I know how to use the fetch API, so now I've built a custom API, and I've deployed it in a way that I can hit as an API, that I can use the fetch API to read, and then I can use my HTML and CSS to put it on screen and make it look nice. Okay, this is getting pretty full stack, but I still only feel like I'm doing front-end work. I haven't really gotten into anything heavy yet. Let's see if we can go further. I want a database, okay? What about a database? Okay, I'm gonna spin up Hasura. I'm gonna use Hasura because Hasura lets me just click a button and then I get a dashboard. All right, now this dashboard, all I did was go to cloud.hasura.io and say, give me a database, and it's like, here's your database. Okay, so then I'm hit this launch console. All right, here's my console. All right, this isn't too weird. Okay, I clicked the data button and I added some fields. It was like, oh, what do you want? I want a name, I want a description. This is all the stuff that's in my JSON. This doesn't feel too weird. I'm still comfortable with this. All right, I got my JSON fields. So I'm gonna put all those in, and then I wanna put some data in. So I go over to this rows, and I insert one, and I add it just through an HTML form. Okay, I can do that, that makes sense. So now I'm a database admin? No, I'm definitely not a database admin, but I just put together a database and loaded data into it. I'm still feeling like I only did front end though. So all right, now our front end's able to do databases? I don't know, this is feeling pretty full stack, right? Now I wanna get the data out. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to Hasura's graphical endpoint, I'm gonna explore, and I just click some buttons, they build a query for me, and now, here I am, I'm getting data out. I'm getting JSON out. Here's my products. That same JSON that I hard-coded is coming out of the database now, and I still haven't written any back-end code. I did all this through UIs. All right, so here is my full stack app with a database, all that good stuff. All right, now let's bring it back in. Let's go back to that serverless function and let's see if we can actually use this database that I just made. All right, so here I am. I'm in my serverless function. I'm rewriting it a little bit. I switched over to TypeScript because I was told if I didn't use TypeScript, I'm not a real developer. And so I've got a little bit of TypeScript going here, and I've got my fetch API call. I'm pulling in from Hasura. And what I'm pulling in is just that query they gave me. I just copy paste that in here, and then I return that the way that I would. I get it as JSON, I pull out the products, and I return those exactly the same as I did my hard-coded JSON. Okay, so now I've got my API hitting a database, and then I've got that doing a little bit of database processing, and then I'm returning that to my front end, all under an API endpoint with all the proxies, all the config, all those things that I need. But I still don't feel like I've done any back-end code. I still feel like I'm just a front-end dev. I'm just writing JavaScript, right? That's all. So now I want to make this feel like a real API. I want to change it. I'm going to set up a redirect. Now I have to proxy something. I got to get into the config. I got to change the way the DNS works. Well, I just write this little bit of code here, this redirects, and I'm going to say anytime that you hit /API/products, I want you to send me the JSON from my database, right? Okay, I understand this. I'm going to go from API products. I want it to hit that products endpoint that I built, and I want it to send that back. Okay, I can do that. Still feels front end. And now here I am. I'm hitting /API/products. I'm getting back my product JSON. I've built a pretty dang robust API here, and I haven't written any back-end code. I'm still feeling like a front-end dev. All right, I want to go even further. Okay, so now what I want to do is anytime somebody goes to one of these routes, there are two categories of products here, right? Let's take a look, because I have these loaded somewhere. Here we are, all right? So here's our products. We've got a corgi, and we've got food. The two things I care most about in life. And I have two categories here, so what I want to do is I want to make it so that if somebody here only shares half of my passion, right? Somebody here only cares about food, or they only care about corgis, I want to make sure that I show them the content that's most relevant to them earlier. So what I want to do is I want to make it so that when you visit a page for corgis, I'm going to add a signifier that says, hey, this person is interested in corgis. We'll give them a score, add a +10 or something. And then if you have a higher corgi score than a food score, I want to show those corgis up top and show the food below because you've shown more interest in corgis. But as you navigate the site, let's say you started with corgis, but then you look at more food, we'll increment that food score and we'll flip it. Now the food's going to be up top, all right? That sounds pretty dang complicated, but I want to make it more complicated. I'm going to do this with no client-side JavaScript. I want this to run with JavaScript disabled. So let's give it a shot. Let's see if we can make it work. So I'm going to go back over here to my code, right? Now we're going to check and see if we're hitting the food endpoint or if we're hitting the corgis endpoint. And based on that, we're gonna up the score. Score.food plus 10, score.corgis plus 10, depending on what they hit, okay? And then we're gonna update that. Now you might be looking at this going, oh, that get score from cookie looks like it's maybe hiding a lot of complexity, or that set score cookie looks like it's hiding a lot of complexity. Well, let's take a look at that code. This is the whole thing. All we're doing is looking at what somebody did, and we're either reading out a cookie or we're setting a cookie. That's it. This is all pretty approachable. Cookies, those are web browser APIs. I understand those. I'm still a front-end dev. Still just doing front-end things, right? And now I've set this cookie. So then when I want to go to personalize this, I'm going to check and see, did the score get set? What is the score? All right, so we're going to check, and then we're going to hit that products API. We're going to load in our products. So now we're getting our products from a database, okay? Once we've got that, we're going to check whether or not we're supposed to prioritize corgis or food, depending on their current score. So we're going to keep going. We're going to dig a little bit deeper here. Then, based on what we're supposed to prioritize, I want to sort. All right, so this is probably the most complicated piece of the code in this whole project, is this 2-feature sorting algorithm that I had to write. I had to look this up on Stack Overflow because I'm a front-end dev, but I'm not that good of a front-end dev. Then, based on the sorted data, I'm just gonna loop over, I'm gonna build some HTML out of this, right? So I've got my products, I go over each product, and then I make some HTML. Just put in the information. Here's your image, here's the image alt, here's the product name and description, all those good bits. And then I use something called HTML Rewriter. This is an amazing piece of software that was written by the Cloudflare team that allows me to take a request and just use query selectors. Anybody here use jQuery? Any of you use CSS or document.query selector all? Any of those? Yeah, right? Same exact thing. You say dot products, find me the dot products div, and inside of it, I want you to take that element and replace the inner content with this new HTML that I just wrote, and I want it to be processed as HTML, so HTML true. Okay. Still feel pretty front end? Anybody feeling like we're not doing front end at this point? This is pretty approachable. I see a couple people back there saying this does not feel like front end. All right, you got me. We'll talk later. But no, it's JavaScript. It's just JavaScript, right? I'm not doing anything that feels that out of the norm. These are browser-based APIs. These are standards-based APIs. When you're looking up how to do this, you're in the Mozilla developer network. You're not on a proprietary piece of documentation here. This is all standards-based code. This is super exciting. All right, now based on this, here's a demo, I think. Nope. Is my demo gonna play? My demo's not gonna play, so I'm gonna do a demo over here. We're gonna hope that it works. So I'm going to reload here, and then when I hover over one of these, right, I'm gonna go see, let's look at the pepperoni pizza. All right, so I click into this pepperoni pizza, and if we look down here in the application, we can see that I've got this score here. Now that's a base64 encoded JSON object. It's just the score that I have for the page, right? And so when I come back out now all the food's up top, all right? So this is an adaptive UI, and there's no JavaScript happening here. So let's pull this up. What have I just done? Get out of here. I'm gonna open this up. What are you doing? Go away. Give me just a moment while I figure out how computers work. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna come in here, and I'm going to use this wonderful little shortcut that I have that says disable JavaScript. All right, so I've disabled JavaScript now. Now I'm gonna come back in here, and I'm gonna click into the corgis. All right, I'm gonna go back. Now the scores are equal. We have 1 vote for corgis, 1 vote for food, so it goes back to the default, a mixed layout. Now I'm gonna go into corgis again. All right, now remember, JavaScript is disabled. So I'm going back, and now the corgis show up top. And so this is a completely adaptive UI, no client-side JavaScript. We've got it pulling from a database. We made a custom API, right? We're doing middleware transformation on our responses, and everything that we did is just a little bit of JavaScript, right? We're using the skills that we have as front-end developers. That's the whole thing, right? This is incredible to me because it means that as a front-end developer, you don't have to be a full-stack dev to build really ambitious, really complex apps. You can use the front-end skills that you have, sprinkle a little bit of JavaScript on there, take advantage of this huge ecosystem of tools, all these API-first tools. You've got headless CMSs, you've got API-driven databases, you've got serverless functions, you've got edge functions. You've got these incredible tools at your fingertips, and all they ask you to do is call APIs and work with JSON. That's an incredible superpower. as a front-end developer. You can build really incredible things without having to go all the way from end to end on the full stack spectrum. So if anybody's interested, you can find the source code for that example that I built. It's ready to deploy. You can scan it, fork it, deploy it on your own and play with it, see how it all works. I will also tweet this for anybody who's not there, and that link at the bottom, the bit.ly/render full stack, that's also a link to the repo if you don't like QR codes. I would love for all of you, especially those of you who would previously have called yourself just a front-end developer, to start thinking about how powerful you are as a front-end developer and try this out. See what you can build with APIs, serverless functions, these edge functions. See what you're capable of, because I think you're capable of a whole lot more than you're maybe giving yourself credit for. So I want to see what you build. Go give this a try. Let's see how it works. And remember, maybe you are a full stack developer, right? Maybe this is actually full stack dev. Maybe you can do it. Thank you all so much.